There are moments in life when everything feels unclear, when you begin to wonder if your steps carry any weight, when you question whether the path you're following is leading you anywhere meaningful. But listen closely, because this truth is reaching for your heart in this very moment. God is not allowing you to drift aimlessly. God is positioning you quietly, purposefully, powerfully. He is moving pieces you cannot yet notice, arranging opportunities you haven't encountered, and aligning circumstances that will bring you to the exact place where your purpose can bloom. You may feel overlooked by people, but you are never unseen by God. You may feel delayed, but you are never denied. What seems like confusion is often divine strategy. What feels like a pause is usually preparation. And what appears to be a setback often becomes the doorway into the place where God intends to lead you. Your life is not being tossed around by luck. It is being directed by the hand that never fails. There is a quiet wisdom in the way God moves. He shifts things long before you ever recognize them. He rearranges conversations, decisions, and connections without making a sound. One day, you simply step into a moment that fits you perfectly. It feels as though the world finally aligns. But that moment isn't coincidence. It is the culmination of every trial, every delay, every closed door, and every detour. You are being shaped for the environment where your purpose will ignite. You are being prepared to walk into a space where who you are meets what you were created to accomplish, and nothing, absolutely nothing in your life is wasted along the way. Even the disappointments, the heartbreaks, the losses, and the quiet seasons are part of the journey. God uses them to build resilience within you. God uses them to fortify your spirit. God uses them to expand your capacity, because your calling requires a stronger version of you than the one you were last year. Sometimes you look around and question why God allowed certain people to leave. You wonder why you were pushed out of places where you tried to belong. You wonder why you felt drawn to something, yet every attempt seemed to collapse. But understand this: God will move you out of environments that limit you. God will separate you from relationships that drain you. God will close doors that would have confined your potential. God will pull you away from spaces where you would shrink instead of grow. You might think you lost something, but God knows you outgrew it. You might think you were rejected, but God was redirecting you. And you might think you were forgotten, but God was freeing you from what could not carry your destiny. Purpose does not flourish in every environment. Seeds do not grow in all soil. And sometimes the ground looks good, it feels familiar, it seems comfortable, but it is not the place where you will thrive. God knows exactly where your roots need to be planted. He knows where you will bear fruit. He knows the specific ground where your gifts will grow strong and your calling will unfold. There are seasons when God hides you. You feel unseen, unheard, unnoticed. But it is in those hidden seasons that the deepest work is done. When God hides you, He is shaping your character. When God hides you, He is refining your spiritual strength. When God hides you, He is protecting you from battles you are not meant to face yet. And when the time arrives, when the soil is prepared and your spirit is steady, He reveals you. Suddenly, opportunities unfold. People recognize the value within you. Doors open effortlessly. The path becomes clear in ways you never imagined. That moment is not a miracle of instant success. It is the unveiling of long preparation. You have been developing beneath the surface. You have been fortified in quiet seasons. You have been positioned for impact long before the moment appeared. Purpose is not a random discovery. Purpose is where God places you once you are prepared. You cannot hasten that placement. You cannot force your way into it. You cannot push yourself into spaces God has not shaped you for. But when God appoints you, no person can remove you. No failure can halt you. No opposition can block you. What is meant for you thrives because God Himself planted it. And once God establishes you, your influence expands. Your voice gains strength. Your presence carries impact. The world around you shifts because God positioned you with divine intention. You are not called to blend in. You are called to stand wherever God places you and let your purpose speak through your life. Do not fear the season you are experiencing. Whether it feels slow or uncertain or weighty, God is using it. The waiting is not pointless. The delays are not meaningless. Every day you remain faithful, you grow. Every day you stay hopeful, your spirit is fortified. Every day you trust God. Even when nothing seems logical, you move closer to the place where your purpose will unfold. Faith is not proven in comfort. It is proven in perseverance. And right now, your endurance is laying the foundation for your purpose. Keep moving. Keep trusting. Keep surrendering your plans to God's wisdom. The place you are dreaming of will come, but God is preparing you to step into it with courage and grace. Your purpose will not flourish where your spirit feels confined. Your purpose will not flourish in rooms where you must shrink yourself. Your purpose will not flourish in relationships that restrict your rise. Your purpose will not flourish in environments that suffocate your growth. God will remove you from what is too small for your spirit. God will shift you away from what cannot carry the weight of your calling. God will draw you out of comfort zones that limit your potential. And though those transitions may feel painful, they are essential. Growth always requires leaving something behind. Flourishing always requires new soil, and God knows exactly where that place is. Some of the greatest positioning from God happens through discomfort. You may feel unsettled because God is stirring your spirit. You may feel restless because God is signaling a shift. You may feel disconnected from things that once stirred excitement because your spirit has outgrown them. This is not confusion, this is alignment. God is aligning you with your next assignment. He is preparing the road ahead. He is shifting your focus, reshaping your priorities, lifting your vision, and pulling you into a deeper level of purpose. Trust the stirring. Trust the unease. Trust the internal shift. It is the voice of God directing you toward where you are meant to stand. There will come a moment when you recognize that everything you endured was necessary to bring you into the place where your purpose awakens. You will look back at the setbacks and realize they were stepping stones. You will look back at the delays and see they were protection. You will look back at the confusion and understand it was guidance. God never wastes a struggle. He never wastes a tear. He never wastes a waiting season. The process may feel long, but the placement will be worth it. When God positions you, you will see why every mountain, every valley, every closed door, and every unexpected turn was woven into the plan. You do not need the approval of others to reach the place God designed for you. You do not need applause from crowds. You do not need validation from those who cannot comprehend your calling. What you need is obedience, faith, humility, and a heart that can hear God even in silence. When you follow God, you walk into purpose. When you trust God, you step into alignment. When you surrender your will, you give God space to move you forward. And He will. He already is. You are being guided in ways your eyes cannot yet detect. Your purpose will flourish because God is leading you to the right place, the right environment, the right connections, the right opportunities, the right moment. Nothing can stop what God has ordained. Nothing can hinder where God is taking you. Nothing can steal what God has prepared for your life. Your purpose is not fragile. It is anchored in God's plan, and God does not fail. It may feel like you are walking slowly, but you are advancing with intention. It may feel like doors are closing, but new ones are opening in hidden spaces. It may feel like you are losing things, but you are releasing what cannot grow with you. You are being positioned. You are being shifted. You are being placed in the exact environment where your purpose will rise. Stay faithful. Stay steady. Keep your heart open. Keep your spirit willing. What God is preparing for you requires the version of you that is still forming. You are not behind. You are being aligned. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. You are not lost. You are being guided by the steady, unshakable hand of God. And soon, very soon, you will step into a moment that feels like everything finally aligns. You will stand in the place where your purpose flourishes, where your gifts find expression, where your spirit feels at home, and where God's plan unfolds with clarity and grace, because God is positioning you. He is leading you. He is preparing you for the exact place where you will grow, influence, and fulfill what you were created to do. Do not underestimate the quiet work that God is doing in your life. Even when nothing appears to be shifting, the unseen movements of God are far more powerful than the loudest applause, the biggest crowd, or the most obvious achievement. Every prayer you whispered, every tear you released in silence, every moment you trusted God through uncertainty is being stored in heaven's treasury, waiting to pour out blessings beyond what you can imagine. God does not move in haste, but His timing is unfailingly perfect. He does not follow human reasoning, but He always brings results that align flawlessly with your destiny. If you feel invisible, remember that hidden seasons are often preparation. If you feel delayed, remember that delay is often protection. If you feel overlooked, remember that God's eyes are on you, and He will reveal your value at the appointed moment. You are not simply surviving, you are being molded for impact. The trials, the setbacks, the waiting seasons, each one is an instrument in God's hands, carefully tuning your spirit, strengthening your faith, and sharpening your understanding. There are lessons tucked inside every challenge, truths buried in every struggle, and treasures hidden in every adversity. God is not only shaping your future, He is shaping you into someone capable of carrying the fullness of what He has designed for you. Do not despise the quiet moments, the difficult moments, or the lonely moments, for they are the ground where God plants seeds of purpose. And when those seeds bloom, they will be undeniable, unstoppable, and unshakable because they originate directly from God's hand. Listen closely. God is shifting people, places, and circumstances on your behalf. Doors that once seemed shut are beginning to open. Connections that felt impossible are being orchestrated. Opportunities that looked out of reach are being aligned right in front of you. The world may try to convince you that your time is past, that your dreams are too late, or that your efforts were wasted, but God is arranging a season of favor and alignment unseen by human eyes. You are on a divine trajectory. No criticism, no resistance, no delay can stop what God has spoken. God's positioning cannot be overturned. His purpose cannot be denied. His plan cannot fail. Do not settle for anything less than what God has prepared. There is a place where your gifts won't just be noticed, they will be celebrated. There is a space where your talents will not only serve, they will multiply. There is an environment where your heart, mind, and spirit can flourish because it is aligned with God's will. If you find yourself in a place that restricts you, confuses you, or dims your fire, know that God is guiding you out, not as punishment, but as preparation. He is removing what is not meant for you, clearing the distractions around you, and preparing a platform where your purpose will shine with clarity and authority. God never places someone too early. God never withholds a blessing too long. He is always intentional. He is always precise. He is always faithful. Faith is your companion on this journey. It is not a passive hope or simple, wishful thought. It is a steady confidence that God knows the end from the beginning and that every detail of your life rests under His authority. Faith perceives what the eyes cannot behold. Faith trusts when the heart trembles. Faith obeys even when the road feels uncertain. Your purpose cannot thrive without faith, because God positions those who trust Him to walk into the fullness of their calling. Without faith, you may settle for what feels easy, compromise on what could be extraordinary, or miss the divine alignment waiting ahead. But with faith, you are unstoppable. With faith, you move with assurance even when circumstances insist otherwise. With faith, you are guided straight into the place God has prepared for your life to bear abundant fruit. Do not fear change, for God is the author of every shift, every transition, and every movement in your life. Change is not the enemy, stagnation is. God is positioning you through change, placing you exactly where you need to be, even when the path feels unfamiliar. The discomfort you feel, the uncertainty that challenges you, the unfamiliar territory that stretches you, all of it is divine choreography preparing your spirit for purpose. God will not leave you in a place that restricts your calling. He will not keep you in a situation that stifles your growth. Every change, every disruption, every upheaval is God clearing the path for your destiny to unfold. Trust the process. Trust the movement. Trust the one who holds your future. There are people who will doubt your purpose, question your direction, or underestimate your potential. Do not be moved by them. God's positioning does not depend on human approval, cultural standards, or public opinion. God places you where His wisdom surpasses understanding. God aligns you where your gifts, your vision, and your spirit can flourish without compromise. And when God positions you, even the obstacles that once felt immovable cannot block your path. Doors locked by human hands will open by divine instruction. Connections you thought were lost will appear at the perfect moment. Favor will meet faith. Opportunity will meet readiness. And your purpose will expand beyond what you imagined. Let your heart remain steady, for God's positioning is always paired with preparation. While you wait, grow. While you wait, refine your character. While you wait, strengthen your spirit. God's timing is never late. But your readiness matters. Your faith, your obedience, and your perseverance create the foundation on which God will move. The place where your purpose will flourish is being prepared not only through circumstances, but through you. God is purifying your heart, sharpening your mind, and strengthening your resolve so that when the moment arrives, you will stand firm, walk boldly, and fulfill your calling with excellence. No hesitation, no doubt, no fear will shake you, because God has prepared you for this very season. Do not allow setbacks to discourage you. Do not allow detours to confuse you. Do not allow delays to drain your hope. Everything you experience is part of God's design to position you for greatness. He knows the doors that must stay shut, the paths that need to remain unseen, and the seasons that must unfold before your purpose can bloom. Your assignment is simple yet weighty. Trust God, walk with God. Stay unwavering in your faith. Stand steady in your obedience. Be patient in your waiting. And when the appointed moment arrives, when God's hand moves and His blueprint is unveiled, you will step into the place where every effort, every hardship, every prayer, every tear, and every waiting season will unite to bring your purpose into full expression. You were not created to live small, to settle, or to fade into the background. God crafted you for impact, for influence, for meaningful contribution. God is positioning you where your abilities will expand, where your voice will resonate, and where your presence will redirect the course of lives around you. The world cannot determine your direction. Circumstances cannot redefine your calling. Opinions cannot shrink your potential. Only God can position you. And when He does, nothing can halt what He has decreed. Your purpose is rooted in His wisdom, strengthened by His guidance, and sheltered by His providence. Stand prepared, for the place where your purpose will flourish is not merely a possibility, it is a certainty guaranteed by God Himself. Remain faithful in the small things, for God's positioning often begins in the hidden, unnoticed, ordinary corners of life. The diligence you show, the character you preserve, the patience you nurture, and the faith you practice all build the platform for extraordinary impact. God's work is precise, intentional, and flawless. He does not hurry. He does not stumble. He does not overlook a single detail. Every step, every season, every encounter, every challenge is orchestrated to position you where your purpose can thrive. And when that moment comes, everything you endured, everything you prayed for, and everything you hoped for will come together to reveal the beauty of God's positioning in your life. Understand this: God's positioning is never random, it is deliberate. Every person, every situation, every moment of timing is under His perfect authority. What may seem like coincidence is actually divine strategy. There is a reason you face trials, weathered disappointment, and walked through silent seasons. Those moments were not empty. They were forming you for a destiny too magnificent to carry unprepared. God does not plant a seed in lifeless soil. He places it in ground rich enough to nurture it. And just as a farmer waits for the appointed season to gather the harvest, God waits for the precise moment to place you where your purpose will flourish. Trust that your waiting is intentional, that your preparation is purposeful, and that your arrival is predestined. Do not despise the seasons of uncertainty, for they are often the most transformative moments of your life. When the storm rises, it is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to elevate you, refine you, and guide you toward the ground where you will stand unshaken. God's guidance often comes through turbulence, through situations that stretch you, test you, and refine your character. Those who flourish are not the ones who avoid hardship. They're the ones who allow God to use hardship to position them exactly where their gifts, their vision, and their calling can shine. Do not fear the pressure, the challenge, or the discomfort, for these are the tools of God's preparation. The more demanding the journey, the deeper the alignment, and the more powerful the purpose God has planted in your life. Every connection you form, every encounter you experience, and every door that opens or closes is part of God's intentional design. People may enter and leave your life, but God's positioning remains unshaken. Do not mourn closed doors, for they were never meant to support your destiny. Do not grieve relationships that ended, for they were not crafted to carry the weight of your calling. Instead, lift your eyes and focus on the divine blueprint of your life. God is assembling the right network, placing the right people around you, and creating opportunities that align perfectly with the mission He placed within you. When you step into the place God has prepared, you will discover that the people you need, the doors you require, and the influence you were designed for all come together in harmony. That is the power of divine positioning. Faith requires you to recognize God's hand even when the path feels unclear. Your vision may waver, your understanding may be limited, but God's perspective is limitless. God sees the end from the beginning. God knows the route, the obstacles, and the victories ahead. Trust is the bridge connecting your present uncertainty with God's guaranteed provision. When you move forward in faith, You step directly into the alignment God has arranged. Do not allow doubt, fear, or the opinions of others to pull you away from walking confidently into the place where your purpose will flourish. God's promise is unshakable, and His positioning is exact. Your purpose does not rely on luck, coincidence, or human timing. It relies on God. God positions you according to wisdom far beyond human insight. You may not understand the delay. You may not understand the detour. You may not understand why certain paths close or why certain struggles remain. But God understands, and His understanding is active. Every twist, every turn, every pause, and every leap is intentional. You are not wandering without direction. You are being guided to the exact coordinates where your purpose can thrive, your influence can widen, and your potential can be fully realized. No obstacle can permanently hinder what God has ordained. No opposition can permanently block what God has appointed. What God positions cannot be moved. Do not settle for anything less than the place where God intends your purpose to flourish. Do not compromise because the world pressures you to fit in. Do not rush because impatience encourages you to force your own way. God's timing is sovereign. God's placement is flawless. God's plan is higher than yours. When you enter the space that God has prepared, every effort, every talent, every prayer, and every act of obedience you have invested will find its proper expression. Your gifts will increase. Your influence will stretch further. Your calling will become unmistakable, and the fruit of your purpose will overflow because it is supported by God's authority, directed by God's wisdom, and sustained by God's providence. Consider this. The world may not acknowledge your worth, the timing may feel inconvenient, and the path may seem unclear, but God sees. God understands. God intervenes. Your moments of waiting are never wasted. Your seasons of preparation are deeply meaningful. Your struggles are not punishment. They are the tools of divine positioning, forming you for a destiny too glorious to rush, too powerful to be ordinary, and too extraordinary to be missed. Trust God's process. Lean into God's guidance, follow God's direction, and when the appointed moment comes, you will step into a life that fully reflects your purpose, a calling that cannot be denied, and a destiny that will leave a legacy of divine impact. Do not fear the unknown, for God has already gone before you. Do not doubt your abilities, for God is equipping you. Do not question your journey, for God is directing your path. Every step, every season of preparation, every quiet moment, every test of patience, and every trial of faith is a deliberate part of God's positioning. The path may feel unfamiliar, the terrain may feel uncomfortable, and the timing may challenge your expectations. But when God moves, the placement is flawless, the opportunity is aligned, and your purpose flourishes beyond what you imagine. This is the certainty of divine positioning. God is coordinating every detail so you will stand precisely where your purpose meets fulfillment. Friends, let this truth settle deeply in your heart. God is not passive. God is not distant. God is actively moving in your life, arranging every detail, orchestrating every circumstance, and positioning you with divine accuracy. Nothing is random, nothing is wasted. Every trial you have endured, every delay you have faced, every moment of uncertainty you have walked through has been a step toward the place where your purpose will flourish. The God who watches over you is the same God who prepares the soil, plants the seeds, and nurtures them until they bloom in fullness. Your life is not random, your story is not meaningless, your purpose is alive. And God is aligning everything so it can rise and shine with power. Now is the moment to awaken your faith to the reality of God's guidance. Examine your life honestly. Look at the places where fear or doubt have restrained you and choose to surrender them to God. Release the worry, release the hesitation, release the urge to control the timing, and step fully into obedience and trust. Walk boldly toward the path God has prepared for you, knowing that every step you take is covered in divine purpose. Align your heart, your mind, and your spirit with God's will, and watch as every part of your life comes together in perfect order. Stand firm, move ahead with boldness, and allow the strength of God's positioning to lift you into the fullness of your destiny. Do not let the whispers of doubt or the weight of old failures stop you from entering what God has set before you. Raise your eyes, deepen your faith, and hold on to the truth that God's design for your life cannot be hindered. You are not too late. You are not insignificant. You are not unseen. God notices you. God understands you. And God is placing you precisely where your giftings, your vision, and your purpose can expand without restriction. Your calling is active. Your mission is true. And the moment has arrived to stand aligned with God's direction and move forward with steady confidence. So rise with courage in your soul and faith guiding your steps. Stand anchored in the truth that God is positioning you, refining you, and preparing the soil for your purpose to bloom. Let every step you take, every decision you choose, every moment of trust become evidence of the power of God's leading. Refuse to settle for anything less than the fullness of your assignment. Let your life proclaim that God's hand is working, God's plan is flawless, and God's timing is exact. Walk courageously, walk faithfully, and step completely into the place where your purpose will prosper, knowing that the God who positions cannot fail, and the God who prepares cannot be overturned.